This is composer Rye Welch, and you're watching the Nick Channel.
Hi everyone, this is Ron Wasserman and you are watching the Nick Channel.
This is visual effects artist Rick Shick, and you're watching the Nick Channel. Smorfin' time!
hear me? You hear me? You hear me?
There we go. Yep.
So you
I
did the
see you.
you did the morph sequence on Power Rangers?
I'm sorry, I did what?
The morph sequence, or what do you do on Power Rangers?
Yeah, well, I did a whole lot on Power Rangers. Can you see me? Is it working? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
There I am. Okay. So unfortunately I'm on phone because the computer didn't connect.
Yeah.
I'll try to get in a good position here. Um, so yeah, I worked on Power Rangers for years. So I did a ton of stuff over multiple seasons. One of the big things that I worked on that a lot of people are excited about are the transformation sequence when the dinosaurs changed into Thunderzords. Actually, this is the side that was used on screen. No, I'm wrong. This is the side that was used on screen. So when they're running along and they get zapped by lightning and change into the Thunderzord. So this is just the toy. This isn't the puppet.
Yeah.
But basically, we took toys and turned them into puppets. So all of these props, like this, what is this? The Triceratops
Triceratops.
dinosaur. This was a toy, and I don't know if you can see in the detail on this side, it's very clean, and on this side, we tried to paint it to look like a giant robot. So this would be mounted on the table, and I'd be underneath the table pulling wires, or some of the puppets had rods. Like this one had rods for the feet to make him look like he's walking. So we'd have multiple people animating the puppets in live action and then
Yeah.
comping it together. Or a mountain range that I had made in the studios at Saban.
Would you be interested in doing more stuff for Power Rangers?
If they wanted me to, sure, I would have been happy to have worked on the anniversary special.
Was
But
it
some
always?
other studio had it. I think it was in New Zealand, and they probably used New Zealand people. So, like the company I worked for wasn't even considered. But yeah, if I had the opportunity to do it, I would have been happy to work on
Yeah.
it again. It was a lot of fun working on the show.
Do you have anyone that do you have like a favorite cast member that you have worked with or something? Like someone that worked on the show?
Well, Karen Ashley, she was the Yellow Ranger. Did I say her name right?
Yeah.
Karen. I'll just say Karen. Karen's really sweet. I've met her recently at Power Ranger conventions, and she's super duper nice. I like her a lot. As far as and actually, I had a picture of her at the premiere where she and I took a picture together, like with our, like saying hello, hi, and smiling, at the movie premiere back in whatever, 95, I think that was, maybe.
Yeah.
So I've re-met her recently, super nice. During the show, I know that my friends and I who worked on the show, we all were very impressed with Johnny Young Bosch's with his physicality,
Yeah.
with his ability to spin and fall down. I mean, he was really good at the action moves, and that I thought that was pretty cool.
So did you do all the season? Did you do all the secrets for all the season of Power Rangers, or was it different people that did it?
Let's see. So I was the third artist hired to work on the show, as a staff artist, and I started with the second season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So there's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then I guess there was a season three. I don't know exactly how the history works, how they divide it up. For us, it was just one show after another.
Yeah.
But so there's like the Aqua Rangers. I worked on that. There's Power Ranger Turbo, Power Ranger Z.
Leo? Power Rangers Leo? Was it Leo or whatever?
Was Zia what? I'm sorry.
Was it Power Rangers Leo? Was it Power Rangers Leo? Or,
Yeah, Power Rangers Zia was one of the seasons I worked on, and I think at the point, our was a I was an artist. I was a lead artist and boss yet. So
yeah.
another artist who's another artist named Rick. Rick and I were basically supervising when Zeo began. I remember when they go through the portal, there's like some kind of green wavy portal that they walk through to the new command center for Zeo.
Yeah.
I made that portal, and it was basically it was like a large, I'd say like a petri dish, like a large thin dish with water in it and sparkles in it and some food coloring in it and some cellophane over it to make it wiggle weirdly. And we shot it with a downward facing camera. And then we took that element and turned it on its side. And then that's what the Rangers walk through.
So have you seen any of the newer seasons?
And I didn't really watch the show other than to work on it because I wasn't like a kid watching the show. I was a young adult working on the show, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't made for my age. So my interest in it is that I worked on it and I thought it was neat. It was a super fun job, and we had a lot of fun. Worked with some fantastic artists. We learned a lot, but as far as following other seasons, no, I didn't. I know my youngest son, he became interested in Power Rangers. I believe it was Power Rangers Samurai, whatever season that was. That's the one that he watched.
Well, yeah, that's the one that Saban brought it back because Disney and Saban brought it back for Samurai.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if it was Saban or not Saban at that time, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. You also did stuff for Spider-Man too, right? Stuff
I did.
and Captain America. Like, what do you do for those projects?
So for Spider-Man 2, I started very early on that project. And then at that time in my life, I would spend about half the year at Sony ImageWorks compositing, and the other half of the year I'd be directing video game commercials for Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
So on Spider-Man, I worked on when Doc Ock goes up to the bank vault, and he rips the bank vault door off and throws it at the desk where Peter and May are sitting. So I worked on those shots, and I also did. Let's see. There's a scene where Doc Ock first becomes Doc Ock, and he walks out into New York City, and there's a cab coming at him, and he uses his tentacles to throw a cab car a New York taxi cab that was going to crash into him.
Yeah.
And I put the background buildings in because it wasn't shot in New York, and so I added the buildings in the background for that shot.
What do you do for Captain America?
For Captain America, I came. That was the first time I believe Sony had worked with Marvel Studios, and it was sort of a contentious thing because Sony owned Spider-Man and Marvel did not at the time. Well, I guess they still don't. So this was their first like thawing in their relationship, where Marvel Studios hired Sony to work on Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and the scene that I did was when Black Widow and Captain America are driving from New York to New Jersey to go to the bunker where I forget where that little guy is who's inside the computer. So when they were driving in the truck, that was just in a studio. They weren't driving anywhere.
Do you have any other projects that you're working on or something?
I have worked on zillions of projects at this point. The last one that I supervised was the third season of Only Murders in the Building, which is the Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez show. So that appeals to me because Steve Martin and Martin Short are from my generation of comedians that I just was crazy about my entire life. So I was actually thrilled to work on that project. That's the last one that I wrapped up before the Hollywood strikes, which stopped work. Before, like, we just ran out of projects for me to supervise. And at that point, then I just started compositing for other supervisors as a compositing artist. So I worked on something with Aquafina and the guy who's in Shang-Chi, I don't know his name. There's some show that they're in together, and I don't know what it's called,
Mhm.
but I did do some compositing in that, and another show called Pink Marine. I don't know if that's the code name. I don't know if that's the actual name. I don't know where it's going, where it's airing. I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show. Streaming shows and movies, it's all kind of blended together at this
Yeah.
point. And there was a time like on the first Power Ranger movie, we wanted to work on it, and we were not allowed because we were TV. TV's over here, movies are over here, and they're
Yeah.
completely separated. And we were really bummed because we thought, well, we're good enough to work on the movie. We could have done. And then when we at the premiere, we're watching the movie, and the teleports in the movie were worse than the ones that we did on the TV show, and that really made us sad.
So you said that you wanted to do once and always, right? You wanted to do that, so they didn't reach out to you. They never reached out
No,
to you.
no, they don't remember me. They don't know who I am. No, I was just a cog in the process. It's not like, oh my gosh, we got to get Rick Schick back on this. They would never think that.
Do you do conventions?
I do. Yes, I started doing conventions just last year. I didn't even know it was a thing. I went to a local comic book store and I brought these to see what they would value them at if I could maybe sell them. And I wanted a lot more money than they were saying that anyone would want to pay for it, which is fine because I'd rather keep them anyway.
Yeah.
And I also have Titanus. Titanus was in the show as well.
Yeah.
But so I have these props, and from meeting the guy who owned the comic book store, super cool guy named Patrick. Uh, he asked me if I would come and do that. They had a couple of Rangers coming to do to do a signing, and he asked if I would show up, and I was like, okay, what should I do? And he's like, I don't know. I said, I don't know either. So I brought my props, and I have somewhere I have a behind the scenes photo album, and I brought that with me. And I just sat next to the Rangers, and like I was basically overflow for the people who came to see the Rangers while they were waiting. They're like, well, what's this guy doing? What's he got? So I was showing my pictures of behind the scenes and showed them that they're not just toys that I have, but they're actual puppets that were used in the show, and it grew from there. From there, I met Tim Embry of Timbry 3D Printing, and he had me at his booth at the the Ranger Stop in Atlanta, and then the same for the Ranger Stop in Orlando. And as I got more into the Ranger convention, we started making up things that we could provide to the fans. So one of the things is I sculpted in the show. I used to sculpt all the putties. Well, I did 95% of the putties for the show when they would do the break apart. So I would make those putties, and then I would do stop motion animation when the actor got hit. Then the breaking apart would be frame at a time stop motion of little sculptures I made.
You
So I
did
made
those. You
so I made this head, and then Tim did a 3D scan of that head, and then you can buy that head and put it on an actual putty toy. So that way you could have a putty head made by the guy who actually made the putties for the show. And I'm now making this is a putty made the exact same way with the same materials, the same size,
is
same
that the
colors.
yeah, is that the
It,
Super 7 one? Those newer Power Ranger
well,
figures?
they were the Z ones. I don't know what it was in Japanese, but those were the Z putties. So I have, like a certificate of authenticity I've created with the putty face on it. So I sell those at the Ranger conventions. I've done a couple of panels, just telling stories of
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff, answering fans' questions. Fans are super nice, so it's really fun to go to these things and meet people. And yeah, people have actually paid me for my signature, which sort of blew me away. Like
Will you be
I'm
interested?
used to just signing checks, and that's money going out, not money
Yeah.
coming in. So
Will you be
that's an
Will you be
interesting thing.
interested to do other Comic Cons around the world? Like other Comic Cons?
Oh, sure. I'd do other ones. Yeah. If I were invited or knew about them or something, yeah, I'd be happy to do other ones.
This
The
was,
one in Atlanta is just super easy because I can go home every night because it's about 40 minutes from my house. It's not a not a big deal to go to that one.
yeah, this was in April in Cleveland where I live. In Cleveland, would you come if you got
Oh,
invited?
oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh, in Ohio.
Yes.
I'm not spending a bunch of money to go somewhere. If
Uh,
I come as a guest, yeah, I'm happy to do these things. They're a lot of fun, and
yeah.
I enjoy traveling. I've driven around across the country multiple times over the years, and I don't mind a long drive because I enjoy exploring America. No problem.
Yeah. Did you do the Dragons or the Power Rangers? Did you do the thing for the Dragons or the no?
And so Ohio is
Did you
I'm
do
sorry,
that?
can you repeat that?
Did you do the Dragons or the
The
Power Rangers?
I can
Did you
the
do the
Dragon Sword?
yes.
Well, we did, yeah. So I don't have the puppet, but I have the toy because we had the stand-in. We had like I bought a pair
Yeah,
of toys for each character that we were going to turn into puppets.
yeah.
And so I have the toy, but I don't have the toy turned into a puppet.
Uh,
So yeah, so this guy changed into this guy, but my friend Rick Cortez, he has the other puppet. I have the what is this? The T-Rex. I have the Triceratops you saw earlier, and I have the unicorn.
so that turned into the unicorn, right? So you did
Yep. The unicorn is one that this is the one that I actually turned into a puppet. The other ones other artists did, but I did that one. Because there were a whole team of I wasn't the it's sometimes talking about it, it sounds like I'm the only one. I was just part of a team.
yeah,
And we not only was I part of the visual effects team, but also we worked with Connor McCullough, who ran the Creature Shop, and he hired some people. So there was another team that was helping to do all of this as far as turning the toys into puppets. But
yeah.
I did make the mountain range background, and I did like I said, I did the unicorn, and and then I don't believe I actually did any of the compositing. I was there for the shoot, and the compositing was actually done by other artists at that time. And I believe Trent Shumway is the artist who drew all the electricity over the top of the morphing sequence.
He's he's the one that did the morphin sequence.
Well, he drew the lightning on it, yeah. And I don't know who did the compositing. Maybe he did the compositing too. I'm not sure.
Oh,
But I was one of the people doing it.
that's cool. I like the morphin sequence. It's a cool morph.
Cool. I was surprised, like as an adult, a young adult watching the show. I'm like, so once they change into the Thunder Zords, when they're done fighting, I guess they revert back to dinosaurs because then they change again in the next episode.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't really understand how that worked, but I'm like, well, I didn't really watch the show that much. Like I said, aside from working on it.
yeah.
Um, so I just found that perplexing.
So, is
Do you have
it?
any other questions?
So, do you have any picture from behind the scenes of that? Like when you
I
work?
do. Hold on one second. Let me see if I have it nearby. Let's see. I've got my bag that I take to the conventions now. So I do have some things localized here. Here we go. So this is my little behind the scenes book. Let's let me show you some of these so you can
Yeah,
see. So there's Paul giving me the finger. This was at the 100th episode cast party. Hold on. I'm going to shut a shade to reduce the amount of glare because I see there's a bunch of glare on the photos. Let's see if this makes it better. Oh yeah,
yeah,
there's still some glare. So there's Paul. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is me making the mountain range,
yeah.
and we're doing it in Trent Shumway's garage. There's Rick Cortez, getting some props out of the back of, is that my car? Is that my Chevy Sprint? That's my Chevy Sprint. So I was trying to make the mountain range look like the Southern California mountains, which I thought I did a pretty good job of. But it turns out that once I watched the show, I realized it wasn't the Southern California mountains. It was like Japanese, like wavy gravy mountains.
Which
So I was trying to match the wrong mountain range,
That
but
was-
I didn't know any better.
which Power Rangers came from a Japanese series?
What? I'm sorry?
Power Rangers came from a Japanese series called
Oh
Super
yeah,
Sentai.
yeah. So because when it cut from the American footage to the Japanese footage, suddenly the mountains were completely different. So I don't know how well this is showing up, but this is the setup we had to do the shoot of the mountain range, and this light colored square over here. This is sky that we painted.
Yeah.
That's behind the mountain range. So this is a tabletop with the mountain range on it, and then the camera was on a dolly that would move past it. So that's how we faked the movement. So yeah, that's that's some of the pictures I got. There's a bunch more here. I don't know what you're interested in. Oh, you said the Dragon Zord. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here is a shot of puppeteering the Dragon Zord.
Ooh.
So you can see there's a wooden frame around the table, so it's
Yeah.
hanging from wires. And then that is Trent Shumway, who is up above it doing the puppeteering. Let's see, that's Trent Shumway and oh no, it isn't even Trent. It's Todd Rex, Rick Cortez, and then the other guy whose name I forget. Sorry, other guy whose name I forget. So yeah, that's some of the behind the scenes stuff.
I got the Green Ranger Dragons on in my room. The Green Ranger Dragons on, Dragons on from Mighty Warfare.
Oh, is the Green Ranger Dragon Zord is a different one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's the one that like comes out of the water like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think we ever did anything with him. At least not that I recall.
Okay.
I was thinking Dragon Zord was this guy, but I guess that's Red Dragon Zord.
That's really all the questions I have for you.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Well, thanks for having me on your show.
Would you be up to coming back on one day?
Sure, yeah. If you got more questions, yeah, you bet.
Nice meeting you.
You too. Oh, and let's see. I should have a thing for my website. Go to rickshick.com and you can see a bunch of my work there.
Okay.
All right,
Cool,
sounds
thanks.
good. Take care.
You too.
Bye, Nick.
Goodbye.